Hello, everybody. So we all know that planning laws and housing and stuff like that is ridiculous. And in terms of the government every day of the week always saying this is a housing crisis, we don't have houses, there's nowhere to put people, etc., etc. And we often see individuals and people trying to look after themselves, trying to house themselves. Now, I will admit, a few people should have sought planning permission in these circumstances, but what I'm trying to say is, in the grand scheme of things, these people have nowhere else to go. Either they don't like build, like say for example, the man in Tipperary, there's a man in Tipperary, the one that's ended the prison for building a log cabin on his own property. He didn't get planning permission. That's the only problem. But at the end of the day, that man had nowhere else to go. And at the same time, too, there's many people like him that are waiting years for planning permission. Take for example, if he did apply for planning permission, I know of people that waited 2 or 3 years to get planning permission for even just an extension, not just even for a house, for an extension, just for it to be looked at. It took 3 or 4 years. In some cases, there's a man who was on my comments the other day saying it took him nearly the same time too, and he had to leave because it took that long for him to get planning permission. And again, the planning system of this country is fucked. And I wouldn't mind if these people put the houses in the middle of the road, take for example. It's understandable, you can't do that. You can't just block traffic and put them along the side of the road, but it's on their own property too. And particularly, as I say, the government every day of the week is saying there's no houses, we have nowhere to put people. And if they go to the local town, take for example the man in Cavan at the moment, he bought a mobile home for €20,000, which is not cheap. €20,000 is not cheap, and he's working a 9 to 5 job. He's in hospitality. He saved up 50,000 for a house. He used to have a house that was rented. He used to pay 1,500 a month and trying to get a mortgage, etc. And then his wife became pregnant, and then the mortgage was cancelled because the wife became pregnant. They couldn't keep up with the payments to the bank. It's not fair, to be totally honest. And somebody reported him for having the mobile phone or mobile home because he was out the back. He didn't get planning permission. But still, at the end of the day, he has nowhere else to go. If the council take away his mobile home, or he's not allowed to put it there, there's nowhere else to put him. There's no emergency accommodations. There's nothing that we can do. Basically, nothing that he can do. And he only wants to keep a roof over his wife and his children's head. And the children are very young. In this circumstance, I would say they should give him the planning exception. The same as this fellow that's going to prison at the moment for building a house on his family land without permission. And I'm sure everybody agreed they should have applied for a plan, but they should have done the right way. But at the end of the day is, these people have nowhere else to go. They have to look after themselves. As the saying says, you look after yourself and your family. That's what comes first. And you do anything to look after your family, particularly if you have children. You do anything to look after your kids and your family. You would move mountains if you could to make sure your family are well. I'm sure everybody would agree with me if you had children, etc., etc. If you have family members or mothers and fathers, take for example, or sisters and brothers, we would move mountains to help them out and to make sure they have a roof over their head. And these people only trying to simply, the one word is survive. That's all they're trying to do, is survive, stay off the street. That's all they're trying to do here. And the government want to put these people, like particularly this man here at the moment in Dublin, they want to throw him in prison, and the man in Tipperary, they want to throw him in prison. The man in Cavan, not so much yet, but they do want the mobile home gone. And it is a disgrace because particularly the man in Cavan, he's doing his best, and nobody can fault him because everybody can see he's doing his best. He's working hard, he's trying to save for a mortgage, and the state's fucking him over at every turn and every twist. And again, there's such thing as planning exceptions that the government can give people planning exceptions for, say, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years if they wanted to. We see this with the refugee accommodation. The planning laws just get ignored, and whatever they want is done, basically, the government. They break their own law. We see many places where asylum seeker places put in, they broke their own laws. They didn't get planning permission, just went ahead and built them with the local authorities, etc., etc. Like, they broke their own laws because, again, the government classified this as an emergency. It's an emergency. We don't have time to wait for planning laws, etc., etc. Now, this is an emergency too. People that can't, like, take for example, the man in Cavan, if he has nowhere else to go, he's going to be on the street. There's no emergency accommodation to put him in Cavan. Simple as that. And, that's an emergency to me. And then take for example, the man in Tipperary too. He has nowhere else to go. He put up a log cabin, etc., etc. There's nowhere else. He's generally nowhere else to go. And again, as I say, if they had the houses on the side of the road, take for example, like literally on the side of the road, it's understandable that the laws, they can't do that, obviously. And if they put it in the middle of the road, take example. But in a lot of these cases, it's not really affecting anyone. To be totally honest, it's not really affecting anyone in the general public around them. And it's a very sad situation, especially when you hear the government every day, oh, we have a housing crisis, this, that, and. But at the end of the day, there needs to be leverage put to understand these people's situations, that there are in, they have nowhere else to go. They're in desperate need. They need this to be done for survival. And again, that's the thing, it's survival. And it is an emergency, the housing crisis in this country. It is an emergency. So it should be the same as the refugees, take for example, coming here and getting modular homes, except the majority of modular homes were put in probably without planning permission too. There was a whole load of houses built down the country without planning permission from the local authority, by the government itself, not by only Joe, by the government itself. And again, the government used that exception that they have, which they can grant for people for 10 years, like for example, in emergency circumstances. Like for example, it was an emergency in the morning, they have that load of exception from within the local authorities to accept buildings for a few years. Say, for example, if it's an emergency situation, they need a field hospital or something like that. God forbid, something like that. The local authority could be like, yeah, we allow that for 2 years or something because it's an emergency circumstance. It's only temporary, as they would say. And that's what they're going by, and that's what it says in the planning laws too, particularly with asylum, like buildings for asylum seekers. It's a temporary installation, that's what they always would say. But in reality, I don't know if it's a temporary, because again, it's the government. These are only Joe's only working class people. And again, there's no such thing as emergency or temporary or anything like that. There's no such thing as modular homes for these people. Do you think the councils will go along and say, we get the modular homes? But no such thing as that. There's no word of that. There's no talk about that. But what I'm trying to say, we have to be fair with people. We have to be understanding with people. These people in these circumstances, they're doing their best, and especially with young children, they're doing their best. And the state is fucking them over in every tone and every shape and the form. And as I said, but planning applications, etc., the local authorities, some people, as I say, I've waited 4 years just for an extension. There was one person one time, one woman, she was waiting for an extension, just kind of for a hallway at the front door. She wanted to expand that a bit, and it took 3 years to get that. Just that. It wasn't like she wasn't looking to build a house, but just for that, just to extend the hallway a bit, like probably from here to there, just a bit more extra space because it was a small hallway. And it took 3 years for that to even be granted, etc. And obviously cost on her end too, because it was just it was a nightmare trying to get it done. I know the woman in question, and to be totally honest, she said you nearly want to be building a house, to be totally honest, to make it worthwhile, because she was out nearly as much waiting for the planning permission. It's just a joke, to be totally honest. And it's the same in many. So there was a post in my comments the other day too, as I say, he waited years for this planning application to be seen to, etc., etc. It's just generally a joke. And then on Bob Panola too, take for example, the building that regulates buildings, etc., had the final say really in a lot of things. They sent horrible dirty letters out to people, young people who want to build houses, etc., disagreeing with this, disagreeing with that. They have no entitlement to build a house on the road, have no onto the road, etc., 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 etc. The planning laws in this country are just a joke. And this is the show, because again, it is an emergency. We had to admit the housing crisis. And again, I know they broke the law, and again, we all realise that. But at the end of the day, they should get a fine. At the end of the day, it's not. And again, the one thing I would always say, it'd be different if they had somewhere to go, but these people have nowhere to go. Let me know what you think. Talk to you later. Bye.